can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Vying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey. How you doing out there all across this great Republic of ours and around the world? It is time once again for the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. Another fine Friday afternoon. We're glad to have you with us today. And I tell you, the news cycle in the last 24, 48 hours is just, this whole election cycle, there have been days where it's just, you just cannot keep up with what's happening out there. And then there are days out there you wonder if the world has just come to a complete stop. This is one of those days where everything is just buzzing and the walls are shaking and everything else. Now, not that there's a lot of substance to a lot of these things, but the fact is that here we are 11 days away from Election Day, and it may be that the Clinton campaign finally has a October surprise that may actually do some damage here. If you don't know, let me just start it out by saying this. The polls today are showing that Trump is either in a dead heat with Clinton. In some states he's like 4 points behind. I just saw the latest Fox poll has Trump ahead by 2, 45 to 43. So there's now, again, that's if you buy polls. I'm just giving you the data that's being circulated out there. I'm not so sure. I don't believe that this race is as close as they say it is. I don't. I can't continue to watch Clinton rallies and lay them next to Trump rallies and believe that more Democrats are excited about Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. Sorry, it's not there. So I'm not so sure. And of course, it seems like even the media outlets like Fox News are trying to do everything they can to put more substance behind the polls than normally perhaps they would. I don't know. Maybe Megyn Kelly has changed the attitude over there at Fox News. And who knows? I don't know. It's pure speculation at this point. The entire election process is speculation. We don't know from one day to the next really what's going on. We just know that the media is in full overdrive right now with the announcement that the FBI has reopened their email investigation on Hillary Clinton. We'll talk about that.
What? The FBI's what?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit more about Obamacare. We talked about it yesterday, but I really want to drive some things home regarding Obamacare because I think Obamacare and the Clinton Foundation are the two things that Trump should just be out there trumpeting all the time, every time, all day. That every rally he goes to. I understand he's doing 3-4 rallies a day. I don't know where this guy gets his energy. I could not do that, Joe. I really don't think I could do that.
Hey, the guy, remember early on when we talked about Donald Trump being there, and I said, does he really want to do it? Hey, he's putting the effort, he's putting the time in. Hey, the guy really wants to do this. It's obvious that he really wants to do this. So, hey, go Don. Way to be, buddy.
Yeah. Well, the new byline he should be touting right now, what he's been saying about Clinton is, she goes out and does a rally and goes home and sleeps for a week.
Yes.
No, what it is she goes out and does a rally, then she goes meets with the board of supervisors for the election supervisors secretly. That's what she's been doing. That's why she's not out there.
Yeah, isn't that awesome how she does that? That's pretty awesome. In most locations, the supervisor elections or the people that run the elections in your particular county are supposed to be fairly nonpartisan. You'd be they might be a Democrat or a Republican or I don't know. Who knows? A Martian anti-Semitites, whatever, some kind of whatever shape-shifting guy. But they're supposed to be, just level across the board because the election's for everybody.
Well, yeah, right? It doesn't make a whole lot of difference what party you're affiliated with if you're just following the rules. It doesn't matter. It's like any other job, I go to work. And I sit down and do my job, depending on my job description and what I'm being paid to do. And it doesn't matter if the guy sitting next to me does the same job as a Democrat. It's just you go to work and you do your job. If you're doing your job, fine. You mean
it's rules? There's rules in place. You shouldn't be doing some things. There's things you shouldn't never be doing.
Yeah, yeah. So we have this. Well, let's break it. Let's break the ice this way.
Hey, by the way, John, everybody go to conservativesyndicate.net, and it's Friday, people. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday.
News items come out for the day, for the week, on Fridays. Every time something happens, it's on a Friday. You ever notice that? Isn't that awesome? That way people can go out and go, hey, I was going to go out and have a really good time, but, they sent out this massive news story, and now I'm really all depressed, so I'm not going out now. And no one ever said.
The Consumer Confidence Index. Oh, I can't go shopping. I mean, the FBI has renewed their email investigation. What are we going to do now? Oh, my God, the world is falling. The sky is falling. And the other thing is, you really won't see much of this tomorrow. Where you'll start seeing stuff in cyberspace out there will be late Sunday afternoon. They'll start posting again.
Yeah. When you had those network, we're the smart people here on Sunday morning when you should be in church right now. Yeah. We're going to talk to you about this stuff because we're the smartest people on television.
Well, that's probably it. The talk shows. I usually cruise the talk shows on Sunday morning. That's really about the only day that I really watch, TV as far as news and really just kind of focus on it. And I don't spend a whole lot of time on the shows. When I go on TV, when I look at the TV, I'm not really interested so much in the substance of what they're talking about. I just want to know what the topics are. Okay, so when you go, like, I go to Shepard Smith this morning after this news about the FBI, and he's got Judge Napolitano on there, and he's got some other people, and they're trying to determine what the emails could be about. We know it's kind of like the mayor based on classified information. They don't know whether it's Huma Abedin gave the information to her husband, Anthony Weiner, or vice versa, or both of them doing it. This was found during their investigation of Anthony Weiner's sexting to a minor investigation kind of thing. And so, so they're doing that, right? So I go over to CNN. I wonder what CNN is doing. CNN has got experts on there talking about how James Comey has violated protocol, tradition, and laws by telling Congress that he's even investigating. Okay? So they're already spinning it. This is like saying, well, what? I expected somebody to say, well, the emails were hacked by the Russians, so none of this is relevant. That kind of thing.
Comey's a Russian.
Yeah. I go over to MSNBC, and they weren't even talking about politics. We were talking about some other, some lifestyle thing or something like that. So, I guess I can't do anything till Chris Matthews and Rachel Madcow get into the office. But
yeah, it's like, hey, you know what the most popular Halloween costume is this year? It's the first time in like 18 years that the princess costume isn't the first one that everybody's going for. They're trying to be superhuman hero, Martian zombie-ites. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to. Well, we're coming up on a break here, but when we get back from the break, I want to offer my speculation as to what's actually going on here.
Well, let me read the letter when we come back, and then we can go. Here's what Comey said, and then.
Okay, and then we're going to have Bob Cardoso on with us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about Obamacare. We started talking about it yesterday, and like I said, there's a couple of things here I really want to drive home to you, the listener. in terms of how Obamacare is going to affect everybody. The argument from the left is it's only going to be about 3% of the people that have Obamacare insurance that are going to be affected. But when I explain to you why that's not the case, you'll understand more. It's more like 60 to 70% of people with any kind of health insurance are going to be affected by these premium changes once again, by the way. So we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We'll be right back. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
You'll get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And let's get into this little FBI little snippet here. I'm looking at an article, the first article I could find on cyberspace. Now, this was about 3 hours ago, so I know there's been some updates on it, and we'll try to fill you in here as we go along with this piece here. It just basically says that there was a letter sent to congressional leaders by FBI Director James Comey that says new emails have come to light recently that have prompted investigators to take another look at the sensitive government information that flowed through the private email server Clinton used while serving as Secretary of State. It's not clear from Comey's letter where the new emails come from or who sent or received them, but we have some kind of updates, at least some speculation as to what's going on. But I want to get, Joe has the actual copy of the letter sitting in front of him, so I thought, okay, let's start with that. Let's give you the actual content of what's going on here. So go ahead, Joe.
From U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Washington, D.C., 28 October 2016. This is going to the Honorable Burr, Chairman of the Select Committee on Intelligence, Nunes, Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, Grassley, Committee on Judiciary, Robert Goodlatte, Committee on Judiciary, Richard Shelby, Committee on Appropriations, Subcommittee on Commerce, Justice, Science, and Related Agencies. John Corbelson, Committee on SEMA Committee. Ron Johnson, Chairman, Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs, and Jason Chavez, Mr. I can't vote for Trump, but now he's changed his mind and might vote for Trump, Chairman, Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, which we might actually need. I don't know. Anyhow, it's a dear Messrs. Chairman. In previous congressional testimony, I referred to the fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, had completed its investigation of former Secretary Clinton's personal email server. Due to recent developments, I am writing to supplement my previous testimony. In connection with an unrelated case, the FBI has learned of the existence of emails that appear to be pertinent to the investigation. I am writing to inform you that the investigative team briefed me on this yesterday, and I agreed that the FBI should take appropriate investigative steps designed to allow investigators to review these emails to determine whether they contain classified information, as well as to assess their importance to our investigation. Although the FBI cannot yet assess whether or not this material may be significant, I cannot predict how long it will take us to complete this additional work. I believe it is important to update your committees about our efforts in light of my previous testimony. Sincerely yours, James B. Comey, Director.
Okay, now before I even start anything, I'd like to know if in that letter somewhere, maybe down at the bottom of the letter, is there a copy forwarded to Andrew McCabe?
Andrew McCabe. No, other copies went to Dianne Feinstein, Patrick Leahy, Barbara Mikowski, Thomas Caper, Adam Schiff, John Conyers, and the Honorable, this guy, Michael Honda.
Oh yeah, Michael Honda. Oh yeah.
I didn't
know.
Sorry, and I forgot. Of course, Elijah E. Cummings.
Oh yes. Okay. I was just curious because Andrew McCabe is the guy who led the FBI investigation, and he's the one that is now being investigated himself for his wife receiving $500,000.
You think that might have had anything to do with this, John?
Yeah, well, see, that's why I'm bringing it up, because there's a whole slew of things here that we can look at as to why this is coming out, the timing of it, and the way that it's coming out. As I said, when I was looking through, I surfed through the channels. I wanted to see how the media was responding to this. Over at Fox News, Shepard Smith had 3 or 4 different people on talking about what the content might be and where it might have come from. That's why I'm saying updating. They were, by the time I got on TV, they were talking about the fact that it looks like it was caught in the FBI investigation of Anthony Weiner, who's being investigated for sexting with a minor.
So what would Anthony Weiner have to do with Hillary Clinton, John?
He's married to Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton's number one, and so they were speculating. Did Huma generate the emails? Did Weiner generate the emails? Or were both of them responsible for this, whatever? And so, we don't know what the content is. We don't know what the classification is, or this, that, and the other. But, just speculating. They just have their people on there. It could be this, could be that, talking about the time. Will they be able to do this in 24, 48 hours? Will we not know anything till after the election? Stuff like that. I flip over to CNN, and they've got their panel of quote-unquote experts talking about how controversial it is that James Comey would be doing this 11 days before an election. They were more worried about the timing of it than what it might be revealing. And also the desire to have this thing sewed up within the next couple of days so we can get back to the important thing, which is the election, okay?
Yeah, which is Donald Trump saying dirty stuff about women and having women say dirty stuff about Donald Trump. We can't be talking about Hillary Clinton and some crazy email investigation. Goodness.
So then I flipped over to MSNBC, and they were talking about how to raise turnips or something. It was non-consequential, inconsequential, some lifestyle segment or something like that. So I didn't stay there.
There is a pumpkin chunking contest going on somewhere in the country since it is Halloween. Sure. And so, if you have the best pumpkin cannon out there and you can send a pumpkin up the length of 15 billion football fields, you are a champion.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, so all we really know as far as what's happening at the moment is the FBI has found something they felt pertinent. They're going to investigate it. As Comey says in the letter, they're not sure how long it's going to take. Nope. They're not sure really if what they're investigating is the exchange of classified information. It's just something set off a red flag that said, hey, we need to look at this. And that was the other thing they were talking about on CNN.
Okay, which was what?
I thought the investigation was closed. It's
apparently it's not all the way closed. Apparently there was an ongoing investigation, and apparently this is just an addendum to his testimony now. I mean, because he wanted to make sure he didn't go afoul of the law when he was testifying before, because it sure sounded like it was done, because that's what Hillary was telling everybody. This is done now. I'm free and clear. Yeah. And they were all upset about that the FBI is going to go ahead and do something to them, John. They're really upset. They thought they had gotten away with it.
Well, yeah, Judge Napolitano was pointing out the arrogance of the Democrats, thinking that just because Comey said we chose not to recommend prosecution for this, that the case was closed. And he also pointed out, he said, because this investigation with Hillary's email server is actually tied to several other things she's still being investigated on. He said that people don't understand that. She is still under investigation. And even if she wins the White House, these investigations are going to go on. And as Jason Chaffetz said, we're going to be, it's environment rich, something like that. What was the phrase he used?
Target rich environment?
Yeah, it was, rich environment. And we're going to be investigating this woman forever.
And it seems like we already have been investigating the Clintons forever.
Yeah, and nothing ever comes of it. But at least it makes it look like they're doing something. That's a big thing. Let's look like we're doing something while we're silently and complicitly giving the Democrats everything they want, because we don't want to be branded as sexist, homophobic, and bigots, xenophobic, and all the other labels. We don't want to fall into that Trump deplorable basket. So
so Hillary's closest partner and friend, other than Bill.
Oh yeah. See, that was the other thing they were saying. Napolitano brought this up. He said, for certain, The FBI is going to have to call Huma Abedin back in, and if she is charged with anything outside of classified information, it'll be lying to the FBI about sending classified information. So she might be facing perjury charges, which would lead to obstruction of justice charges. So, and then they were saying now if they bring in Huma Abedin, then they have to go back after Cheryl Mills. Wow.
Again, I say, you said lying to the FBI. Hillary Clinton did that numerous times.
Yeah, well,
they said as much.
Maybe they just need a top-tier scapegoat to get us, hoping that, hey, let's throw the Muslim to the wolves in hopes of maybe silencing people finally once and for all on this thing. But I don't think I think this is going to be the Republicans' gambit, man. If Hillary Clinton wins, it's going to be all about investigating Hillary. It was all about stopping Obama, which never happened, and it'll be all about investigating Hillary, which will come to no end. But at least they'll have an objective that they can send to their what's left of their base every election cycle. Help us convict Hillary Clinton, put her in prison, and send us money. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
help us stop Haley's comet from its orbit around the sun and the universe. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the couple of things that I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay. What could be the cause of this? What would be the cause and effect? Why would James Comey all of a sudden do this? Because I do believe he's in the Clinton camp. I do, or in the Obama camp, and for whatever reason. My first thought when I first heard it, just my pessimism kicking up. My first thought was, this will distract from the other emails that are out there about the Clinton Foundation. This will distract from some of the other reverberations that are going on here. The voter fraud that's coming down the pipe here that we're hearing about all over the place. Anything to get people's eyes off of what is immediately happening right now. Let's go back and listen back to the future. Let's go revisit something else that people will listen to and go, oh yeah, throw your hands up. They'll listen to it, but they're not listening to the main things that are going on out there right now in regard to the election, like Hillary Clinton meeting with the Broward County Supervisor of Elections illegally, things like that.
Oh my God, that's not important. That sounds like it could be that voter fraud thing that doesn't happen.
Yeah, North Carolina, NAACP threatening to sue North Carolina because apparently it's just too hard for black people to stand in line. They're upset because people are having to stand in line. They're saying, well, you guys, they've cut down the number of polling places, and so people are having to stand in line. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, wasn't it the Attorney General that said they're going to cut down the number of people go out there to supervise the elections from the federal government? Well, it would make sense then you would counter that by cutting down the polling places.
Yeah, if you don't have the budget and money to have a polling place open, what are you supposed to do?
Well, you don't have to have 20 places open in a county that has maybe 40,000 people in it, for crying out loud. But here was the other thing that they were raving about was that people were driving up to the polling place in their cars, seeing the line, and then just driving away. And I thought the big argument about voter ID and the disenfranchisement and suppression of vote was that these poor black people just couldn't get to where they need to go. There's no transportation to get them to any government agency for them to get a government issue ID. But they're driving up in cars and seeing what's going on and leaving. I mean, does it have to be that easy? Is this something like, hey, you need to learn how to vote during a commercial or something? Is it?
Yeah, you go up there, you got your 22s rolling, and so, man, you're in there, man. I can't get out of the car because, look, the air conditioner's running.
Yeah. I should have brought an extra 48-ouncer.
Can you drink and vote at the same time?
Anyway, so some of the things are going on here. We're getting ready to go to the break here. We're going to have Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live with us. We're going to talk about Obamacare. We started talking about it yesterday, but I did run across an article that I wanted to share with you as to the 5 most ridiculous reasons the Democrats are giving why Obamacare is failing. And it has to do, it's written by, let's see, what's the guy's name here that wrote this thing? Let me scroll up here in my notes here, and we'll get it here. Let's see. Oh, come on. No, I was at the bottom of my notes here. All right. Anyway, Avik Roy, who faced off with what's his name? Obamacare's economic supervisor. I never can remember this guy's name.
Austin Goolsby?
Yeah, that guy. Okay. So he writes responding to that. It's a great thing. The 5 lamest excuses for Obamacare's 22% premium hike. So we'll cover that. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, and we are going to try to get our good buddy here, Robert Cardoso, hooked up here with us, and this will be the first time in quite a while that we've actually been able to get a hold of each other twice in the same week.
This will be fun.
It's been one of those things, you know. It's just scheduling conflicts and all kinds of things going on out there, and it's just been a real challenge to get each other on the line here.
Bob Cardoza, can you hear us, Bob Cardoza?
Well, I see his line is still ringing here. He might be in the middle of a commercial break himself here. Sometimes we just don't sync this thing right here. That should be him right there. Is that you, Bob?
That be me, boys.
All right, man. How you doing? We were just commenting. This is probably the first time in a couple of months where we've met twice in 1 week, like we've scheduled.
Well, you know what? It must be a political event that is going off the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. How often is it?
What are you trying to say?
You know what? You know what, Joe? I am so fed up with politics right now that I'm not ever trying to say anything again until January.
Well, they're writing this down, Bob, so why don't you go ahead and say it anyways? That way they can leave all the confusion out so they actually get it right.
Well, I'm having a real tough time because, Donald Trump continues to get castigated in the news, and they talk about, his charity and the fact that he used it for personal purposes, and then they absolutely stopped him from being able to use it in New York City. And then out comes the emails where the Clintons used theirs for multi-millions of dollars. I mean, big stuff. And you ask if the Attorney General is going to stop their charity. Well, hell no, they're not going to stop their charity because, after all, they're not subject to the same laws that you and me and everybody else are. And then, of course, these people, they keep leaking this stuff. Are you seeing much in the news about all this stuff about the Clintons and their improprieties and the things that are going on? It's almost like it doesn't exist.
Is there something going on with Hillary Clinton? Is she doing bad things, Bob? Is she doing things that aren't supposed to be allowed? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that everybody accepts it as normal and okay and standard, and I'm looking at it, and it looks to me like it's bad, but I must be wrong.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering, you're shocked and dismayed. I can't believe that, Bob, that you would be shocked and dismayed that Hillary Clinton is being accused of doing things that are not quite, proprietary or prosperous or legal. How's that?
No, I think.
You know what? Joe, I just can't hardly. I wish that I had the wand, the magic wand that the Clintons have. Because if you and I did any of the things that they're doing, they'd throw us in jail. They wouldn't even give us an arraignment. They'd throw the key away. But all they do is wave their magic wand, and it's like it never happened.
Well,
except they get to keep the money.
Well, Bob, that would be great because all your customers would have loved it too because you could have waved that magic wand and magically their taxes would have been done and they would have got so much money back. They would have you could have ran for Senate and then president.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I couldn't do any worse than what's going on right now and what's probably going to happen in January.
Amen. Amen. Keep going. Yeah. Bob. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I like having an audience that appreciates my
I was kicking off your campaign, brother. I was kicking your campaign.
Well, I'm sitting back, and are you hearing I'm not hearing anything about this travesty, this Obama travesty that he calls Obamacare, that's going to get a 25% increase It's going to put people in the poorhouse. It's cheaper to pay the doggone penalty and not get the insurance than to get the insurance. In 26 states are going to limit this to only one provider, for God's sakes. This is all stuff everybody's been talking about for a long time. They say, no, this is not going to happen. It's the same doggone wand that Hillary's got. I think she loans it to Barack Obama.
I think John has something to say about that.
Well, the first thing is we need to reiterate the truth here, and the truth is Obama is telling the public the truth. Obamacare is working exactly how it was designed. Okay, that it is true. That is true. It is working exactly how it was designed, and it was designed to implode the entire private sector healthcare system in order to put everybody into single-payer and government-run healthcare. So it is accomplishing exactly what it was designed to do. The thing that is the misleading, the lies of it is that when we have people like Austin, what's that guy's name? I can't remember that guy's name.
Austin Goolsbee.
Okay,
he's an economics guru, supposedly. At least in his mind, he is.
Yeah, he was Obama's former economic advisor, and probably the only guy in the Obama cabinet that really does have a good sense of humor. He's got some great jokes, but he was he was the one who. He was the one that described Congress as people that are not always flying with their seat in an upright position. You know that kind of.
Well, yeah, but one of his greatest jokes is the guy he represents. That's Barack Obama.
Yeah. So he's out there trying to spin, telling everybody that this isn't really a big deal because it's only going to affect about 3% of the people enrolled in Obamacare because it only affects those people that are in the state exchanges. Now, the counter to it is, of course, what? The counter is that, well, even though the costs, and they're calling it premiums, but it's actually costs, and they're saying the costs are going to go up, so the premiums are going to go up with people who never enrolled in Obamacare through state exchanges. All right, and so that means their premiums are going to go up. That means, and the people that are in state exchanges don't have to worry about it because the cost increases will be subsidized. Okay, what's that mean? You tell me what that means, Bob. What does it mean when we subsidize something?
That means that they're going to make sure that we feel the pain, and they're not even going to issue us a bottle of Vaseline.
Well, what it means is the taxpayers are going to pay for it. The taxpayers are going to pay those subsidies so that the people that don't pay taxes don't have to worry about paying the subsidies. It's like this whole idea of the generality behind it. The great analogy that we've been using off and on again here over the last couple of weeks is like saying the relevancy and authenticity of the hacked emails from Hillary's hacked emails or the DNC hacked emails are not real because they were stolen. Okay, it's like they were stolen, so that means they're not real anymore. That the content doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, what you're saying is actually more valid than what we would like everybody to believe. The truth is that's exactly what they're saying, and that's exactly what the American people are swallowing. They were stolen, so they have no validity. Well, who the hell ever said that? The fact that they may or may not have been stolen doesn't change the facts within them.
Oh, yeah, but Democrats don't think that way. They don't think. They just digest. They just digest what's being fed to them. I can see I can see all these Democrats out there listening to CNN and MSNBC, and they're saying, and they have Clinton responding to something, or Donna Brazile responding to something, or Obama responding to something. Well, I'm not going to address anything because the authenticity of these things are in question because they were hacked. And I can see the bobbleheads out there. I can say, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, the jewelry thieves in America have their defense now. Hey, I stole these jewels from the store. Now they're worthless.
Yeah. You know what? It's like Kardashian's $10 million ring, right?
Yeah.
It was stolen, so it's not really worth $10 million anymore.
Yeah.
Why are you worried about it?
What you get when you publicize it like that? Hey, you put it on Instagram and everything. Hey, look, everybody, look at all my really expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what Obama did? He publicized everything. Look at what you're going to get. You're going to get to keep your insurance company, and your premiums are going to go down, and we're going to insure the entire nation, and we're going to provide this wonderful manna from heaven for the whole world. Now look what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
come on.
hey,
There's only a few Americans going to be affected by this Obamacare premium hikes. Come on, Bob.
Yeah.
A few million.
What we're going to do, we got to go to a break. When we come back from the break, I've got this article from Avik Roy, who stood off against Austin, whatever the hell his name is, Gold. I can't remember. The guy's not relevant enough for me to learn how to pronounce the name. But they had a face-off on Megyn Kelly the other night, and he wrote an article.
Yes.
He said he
wrote.
Are
you talking about the Newt Gingrich thing?
Oh yeah, no. We're not talking about
that's-
that. We're talking about Avik Roy. This guy's from Forbes magazine, Avik Roy, and he faced off against Austin over there on the other side as to whether or not Obamacare was actually going to affect the entire country, or was it just going to be this poor 3% that weren't going to have to pay it anyway because of the fact that it was going to be subsidized. So I want to present these excuses to you. He wrote an article called "The Democrats' 5 Lamest Excuses for Obama's Care 22% Premium Hike," which is the average premium hike. We'll clarify that when we get back here, but we got to go to a break first, and we'll be right back with Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. The Conservative Syndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews. We're going to try to get our good buddy Bob Cardoso back on the line here. And we'll continue our discussion here. What we're talking about is the article that just came out by Avik Roy, who faced off the other day with Austin. I just call him Austin. What's his face over there from the Obama side?
Austin Goolsbee.
I just too many syllables in the name. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time to memorize how to say it.
The person you're trying to reach is not available. Please leave a message after the beep.
Please leave your Australian accent at the house, please.
Well, we'll try it again here. We'll try again. He's probably in the middle of his commercial breaks. I think our commercial breaks run a little bit shorter than his. And so when we try to get him on here, it doesn't always work. Yeah. It's just timing. We're both simulcasting live right now. And so it's kind of sometimes hard to cue things up here. All right. Now, but getting back to this thing.
The person you're trying to reach is not available.
All right. I'm not so sure what's
going
on with this.
Is ignoring your calls right now.
Huh?
And the person you're trying to reach is ignoring your calls right now.
Well, we just have to. I don't know what the deal is. We'll just have to keep trying here. But anyway, while we're doing that,
yeah.
So
you talk about it then.
Yeah. Well, it was on Megyn Kelly the other night, and they had a nice exchange between them
Yes.
as to the whether or not we're being lied to once again, as if anybody really has to ask that question. I mean, come on. Haven't we got to the point now where we know that we're being lied to?
Yeah, well, we can understand we're being lied to. Hey, you know what? That sounds like Robert Cardoza from Robert Cardoza Live.
And it is. Joe, did you miss me?
You did, Bob.
Oh, there he is. There's his name. I was trying to find his name. Okay, Austin Goolsbee faced off against Avik Roy from Forbes. And they were talking about whether or not Obamacare, is in its final throes of death and this, that, and the other. And it was funny because Austin started the conversation off the same way that Obama has been starting it off. Obamacare is doing exactly. We now have 20 million people that have affordable health care. Now, I pointed out to you yesterday, those of you who were listening yesterday, that you notice the narrative has changed. It's no longer we have 20 million people or we have 10 million people or 11 million people who previously never had health insurance now have it. No, it's 20 million now have affordable health care. Of course, they're not telling you 11 million of those are people that have it subsidized. It's about 3% of the market obtained through state exchanges. We had 23 exchanges when we started. We've got 7 left. And what that done is it has triggered things like healthcare companies pulling out of states. Some people are only going to have one plan to choose from, one company to go to, all these things. But the other 9-10 million were people that were forced off their own healthcare plans because it didn't meet the requirements of Obamacare. So now we just group them all together, and this is the accomplishment. And besides, I thought it was 40 million people that needed insurance, so we've only got half of them, but it has accomplished what it's supposed to accomplish. All right, so
that's interesting. I thought it was 320 million people that needed it, and then the employers got conned into offering insurance to well over half of those and their families. And the biggest problem is that Obamacare is a burden on all people who are insured because of the nature of Obamacare. The problem that exists is that because of Obamacare, prices are continuing to skyrocket. You know what? One of the things that Obamacare doesn't cover is the fact that there is a cure for hepatitis C. The cure actually costs, from what I understand, $120 per inoculation. It takes 85 inoculations to cure hepatitis C, which is fatal. However, Obamacare has allowed the insurance companies to be exempt from this. The guy bought the patent on that, raised the price from $120 to $1,000,
right?
So that Obamacare is the only outfit that's not exempt from paying this exorbitant windfall on that. Other insurance companies are refusing to pay it.
Yeah, see, and I've used my own situation here. My wife Lourdes has to take Novolin for diabetes, and when we were on Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then even on Medicare, she's on Medicare now, and even when on Medicare, we were getting a 3-month supply of Novolin for $70. That was our copay, $70 for 3 months worth of insulin, and she takes it twice a day. All right, and so now. Obamacare kicks in, and we get notified by the company. She renews her prescription. They send us, they deliver the stuff to us. The clerk comes in here and whips out his little Visa iPad. He's going to charge it or whatever. And it was $700. And she
Holy cow.
And she goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, that's your copay because this Novolin is no longer covered under Obamacare. So your copay now is $700. That's a 700% increase.
Well, don't you know that premiums would be even higher if Obamacare hadn't passed?
Yeah, well, that's the thing here. Okay, anyway, I'm digressing here, and I want to give Bob a shot at a couple of these things here. Austin Goolsbee, one of his arguments was that only a very few Americans are going to be affected by Obamacare's premium hikes. He was claiming, he says the Obamacare, this is only for people who are buying their health coverage on the exchanges. It's around 3% of the country. Okay, that's what he was saying. Now, Avik Roy comes back and he says, no, the reason people aren't signing up for Obamacare through the state exchanges is because the premiums are simply too high. Plus, we know that, and we know that because 17 of the 23 exchanges have shut down because they couldn't stay open because of the financial aspects of being able to run the operation. He says most are affected because it's too expensive. People who buy individual market coverage off the exchanges also face the drastic premium hikes because they're going to be paid in the subsidies through their premium hikes for the people that aren't going to be paying anything, that have the subsidies. So he says this is actually about 50 million of Americans are going to be affected by this. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I think it's actually going to be greater than that. I think all Americans are going to be affected by this. That's the way insurance companies work. When you get down to one provider that's going to be there, that provider is going to control the ceiling on everything. And what winds up happening is that where they take it in the shorts in one place, they're going to pick it up someplace else. In this particular case, they're going to matriculate this whole thing. And all of those people, that whether they're being paid by their employers, and I can tell you as an employer, my insurance rates would go up 100% in some years. And what I have to do is determine, okay, what am I going to trim out? I'm going to make the co-pays higher. I'm not going to cover some things. I got to get these premiums down so that as an employer I can afford it. And then the insurance companies are going to do the same thing on their side. They're going to start raising prices on co-pays and prescriptions and other things. And it's not going to stop with just Obamacare. Obamacare is the trigger that is going to allow insurance companies to have carte blanche with what's going on because it has absolutely destroyed the free market.
Yeah. Now, once that happens, Bob, let me float this at you here. Once it comes down to, like, we know that there's some places down in Arizona who, by the way, the average premium increase in Arizona is going to be 145%. All right. Now, we've got some counties down there that healthcare providers have just pulled out and said we're not staying here because it's too much, and so some of them only have one choice to go to. Now, understanding the way the laws have written in this country and been written for a long time, if it comes down to where we only have one or two healthcare providers out there providing anything, can the government not come out now and say, "Hey, these are monopolies," and now the government can step in?
Well, yeah, they could do that, but when you talk about one choice, that's not a choice; it's a mandate.
Well, I'm just thinking
we already have monopolies in government. They're called the public utilities.
Oh yeah, I get that. I get that. But what I'm getting at here, since Obama is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, according to President Obama, the idea is to implode. The idea is to either overburden the system, to drive healthcare providers out of the system, to put everything out there to some degree where the government now says we're the only ones that can save this.
What the government is going to do is they're going to implode the insurance companies. The government is going to become self-insuring, and they're going to hire the insurance companies to manage all of the policies.
Yeah.
And the insurance companies will make their money that way.
Yeah, so then what we'll have is over-glorified Kmart clerks handling our stuff. That's what's going to go. We're out of time here. We're out of time. I want really out of time here. I want to just encourage everybody, check Bob's show out at robertcardosalive.com. He's on the same time we are, 3 to 5 out here on the left coast and 6 to 8 on the east coast. I got to cut you short here, Bob. And thank you so much for coming on.
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, you take care. Okay, guys. We're coming up on the top of the hour here. Edward's Notebook, pay some bills, and we'll be back. Continue our discussion. We'll be right back.
Stripping money from the U.S. military budget to pour into government school systems is simply exacerbating two major problems. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, government schools in America have for years received enough money to ensure that more money is spent per student throughout the Republic than almost any other nation on earth. Yet, overall, America ranks 30th in the world in education quality, proving that spending the most money does not ensure the highest quality. Especially since the actual goal of American government school educators is to indoctrinate American students into being glorified, socially conscious globalists who are more in league with the United Nations, open borders, and climate change dogma than reading, writing, arithmetic, and true American history. In addition, the stripping away of needed funding from what has been the best military in the world has produced massive shortages in needed supplies at every level. Thus, the military is now at best heavily strained in the effort to protect America and maintain stability throughout the world. Hopefully, the scenario of double trouble is soon corrected through a return to providential guidance and an appreciation for America the Beautiful. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. with your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. Hour 2 right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Now, I've got just a quick update here, on what's going on with so far, what we're hearing about the FBI investigation. Not so much what the FBI is saying, but how the responses are starting to come out. And this is comical. This is very comical, the way I mentioned when we were talking about it last hour, how CNN was trying to spin this as the same way with the email hacks from the DNC and everything else from WikiLeaks. The entire process is invalid because somebody stole the information, that kind of stuff. Anyway, apparently what's happening here is that there was a commonly shared computer between Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin, and that computer reveals something that James Comey felt was pertinent to the investigation of Clinton's emails. And he said because he had told the Congress and everybody else that he had closed the investigation, that he thought it was noteworthy or important to notify them that they were actually still looking at some of this stuff. And so the spin, and this is great. We got to watch the news tonight. I've got to see how Clinton responds to this at any rally that she's at today, because they're telling us, while this was going down, Hillary was en route to a rally with Huma Abedin on a plane. They had no Wi-Fi, so they have no knowledge that this is coming out.
Iowa. Yeah, they're in Iowa.
Yeah, no, they don't have a Wi-Fi network or whatever, and she probably can't use it anyway.
Yeah, not Iowa. No, Iowa is internet-free zone. Yeah, there's no internet in Iowa.
Okay, so so who do they send out? Who do they send out as a spokeshole to represent Hillary Clinton? Just take a guess, Joe.
Monica Lewinsky.
No, they send out John Podesta.
Oh, the guy running her campaign. Oh, that guy, the guy with all the hacked emails.
They send out Snidely Whiplash.
No.
Okay, now check it.
Those are hacked now.
Wait, you're going to laugh at this. This is what he did. He says, Director Comey's letter refers to emails that have come to light in an unrelated case, but we have no idea what those emails are, and the director himself notes that they may not even be significant. It's extraordinary that we would see something like this just 11 days out from the presidential election. The director owes it to the American people to immediately provide the full details of what he is now examining. And Senator Dianne Feinstein, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, criticized Comey's timing. All right, the FBI has a history of extreme caution near Election Day so as to not influence the results. Today's break from that tradition is appalling. Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley of Iowa. The letter from Director Comey was unsolicited and quite honestly surprising, but it's left a lot more questions than answers for both the FBI and Secretary Clinton. All right,
an investigation.
Now, wait a minute. There's even more here. This is rich. The establishment people are reacting, and they're not reacting like Republicans. Republican Senator John Cornyn of Texas. Why is the FBI just doing this 11 days before the election? Oh, yeah. What are you doing here? We've all backing Hillary now, man. What are you doing?
So check this out. I just got this while we were on the break. This is from Donald Trump. Okay? The FBI just reopened their investigation into crooked Hillary. Hillary Clinton has lied to the American people, lied before Congress, and jeopardized our national security. She should be in jail. It's time to drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Contribute $1 in the next hour.
Oh, great! I love it. So, basically what we're getting at here is all of a sudden the Democrats want everything investigated. They want everything revealed. Okay, what a change! What a change in thinking, huh?
Yeah. Well, how about this for a really, really novel idea? How about being so damn corrupt and you wouldn't have to worry about this and you wouldn't be investigated at all?
Yeah.
Oh, what a thought, huh?
Okay, so and how do you lay this out as a vast right-wing conspiracy? All right. Man, you guys had Comey in the bag, man. Whatever you had on him, whatever you paid him, whatever happened, whatever came down the pipe here that made him just say, hey, the entire protocol. I was listening to a guy talk about it the other night. I can't remember his name. The entire protocol. He said this is the first investigation where the FBI never put together a grand jury. He said that none of these typical protocol that was supposed to be gone. He said if the FBI had done everything they were supposed to do and handled the case the way that they normally handle, she would have been indicted. But they didn't do it. And then destroying evidence, destroying computers that have evidence on it.
What I want to know is, where is Bill Clinton? There's a tarmac in America with an airplane sitting, and Bill Clinton's waiting for somebody to show up so he can talk to them.
Yeah. I'm trying to envision in my mind what it must have sounded and looked like. And they get off the plane in Iowa, and somebody walks up to her and goes, "Hey, we got a problem." Oh, so anyway, I don't know if she showed up. Did she show up at a rally today in Iowa? They might have canceled it.
Yeah, no, they're in Iowa. She's in Iowa, and they're going to be holding this rally. It might be going on right now. There might be at least 40 or 50 people there. Yeah.
Standing room only because there's so few people. We didn't even bother to rent chairs. No,
there's going to be some people there, but from the reports I saw, she got off the airplane and the pool reporters were hollering her, "Hillary, what about this new thing from the FBI?" And she just smiled and waved at him and went, "Ha, you little peoples, I'm going to ignore you now."
Yeah. What are you going to do? If it's 11 days out, what are you going to do to me? That kind of thing. Anyway, hey, we got to go to break. When we come back, we're going to get back into the Obamacare thing, and then we're going to go back. We're going to talk about some of the email stuff that's going on out there. Oh, no, the voter fraud. More stuff on voter fraud. We got to cover this. These are the things that need to be talked about between now and Election Day. Okay, so stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. Time for Moments of Madness. Hey, on Moments of Madness. There have been several strategies employed by the elitists, operatives, and media lapdogs to stop Donald Trump. Charges he is of bad temperament, lacks the ability to articulate conservative principles, is unqualified to lead our armed forces or govern the most diverse society on the face of the earth because of his language, racist, sexist, and xenophobic views have fallen short in bringing about his political demise. The elitists that for decades have greased America's political machine undetoured and unopposed find themselves at a loss as to how to eradicate the Trump phenomenon. And that's just the Republicans. On the other side of the political asylum are attempts to shame deplorable Trump supporters by claiming they are proponents of white privilege, while deploring white soccer moms their little girls may learn about promiscuity from someone other than Beyonce and Planned Parenthood, and inciting minority demographics to stand together against the man that has made millions at their expense and cares not about their socioeconomic plight. Though these strategies and tactics have been successful to some degree in hindering Trump's scorched earth trek through the establishment rank and file, the best the elitists and their minions have to show is a single-digit lead in the polls, if the polls are even accurate. However, the disapproval numbers remain virtually even between the angry Donald Trump and the corrupt, politically two-faced, pathological liar Hillary Clinton. So, as the latest all-too-well-rehearsed tactic to discredit their opponent with charges of sexual exploitation and assault with yet another bimbo eruption begin to subside, the establishment has one arrow left in their quiver. That is voter suppression. The left has always benefited from a low voter turnout. Having offered the electorate the lesser of two evils in the last 6 election cycles, many on the right simply do not care enough to make it to the polls. The only new variable this time around is the GOP has joined them in their plot. Trump's accusation the system is rigged has squelched the discontentment that has kept so many from voting for decades or not at all. His charges of disenfranchisement of the silent majority ring true, as we have learned the DNC plotted to make sure Bernie Sanders would not be credited with exposing the Democrat Party as socialist disguised as capitalists. The preservation of the establishment required one of their own be handed the baton. Evidence of voter fraud is beginning to pile up like Hillary's email leaks, proof of collusion with Wall Street and corruption between almost all of the federal government's agencies, including the FBI and CIA. Here's the madness. The brilliance in the left's strategy to suppress voter turnout this time around is by suggesting Donald Trump's assertion of collusion between establishment elites and the media to sequester the silent majority is actually a tactic by Trump to deprive real Americans from exercising their right to vote. This time, they have accomplices. Consider from the outset of the primary season, many operatives and leaders of the GOP have voiced such disdain for Trump, they first said they couldn't honor their pledge to support the Republican nominee. When that didn't rein Trump in, they began to endorse Clinton as a better, more qualified leader. The rift between rhinos and conservatives has been exposed to its core. It isn't about ideology or principles, it's about self-preservation and profit. Another schism has also ruptured the surface of pretend politics. The schism that has existed secretly in the catacombs of the Christian church for decades. Megachurch leaders claiming the evangelical brand have suddenly found self-righteous indignation that a heathen like Donald Trump is being supported by their flocks. They are telling us to vote for Trump is to vote against all Christians claim to be. They even lament not voting for Mitt Romney, who they now say was a man of character, forgetting completely he is also a Mormon, and as we now know, part of the establishment that supports Clinton over his own purported beliefs. Never mind, the only other viable alternative is to vote for Hillary Clinton, who also violates doctrine and values, or a third-party candidate that will result in basically throwing our vote away, serving to put Clinton in the White House. Never mind the fact that had they begun to voice moral concerns back when Hillary's husband was running, we might not be facing judgment from the God they claim to honor and follow. The truth is, real Christians are in a catch-22. As I stated, many Christians abstained for voting for Romney in 2012 due to his religion. I was not one of them. I voted for Romney for the very reasons the Christian elites now laud him. And I remember being criticized by other Christians like myself for placing Romney's values over our faith. Voter suppression in that election gave us another Obama term. Now Christians are being asked once again to ignore stopping the evil of the Obama legacy by refusing to support somebody with virtually no ties to Judeo-Christian beliefs, at least in practice. It's Mitt Romney all over again. So I'm guessing the issue is Christians need to be excluded from voting at all. For many of today's Christian leaders, that's exactly what they want, a return to secular separation of church and state. Unfortunately, this time around, if Trump loses, we won't have to worry about religion and politics because we will be fed to the lions. Let's just hope leaders of the church are first to go. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, we're back. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hagos. Joe, I want you to share this comment that you just shared with me during the break here about how the media is trying to spin this and basically just saying, well, it's just a matter of time before Trump turns the attention back on him.
Yeah, exactly. What they're doing, what they're saying is, okay, this is all about Hillary right now. Just wait, though. Trump's going to make some stupid statement, and then that'll be that, and then Hillary Clinton will make it all about that, and Hillary Clinton can go hide out until November 8th. That's what they're going to be looking for. They're just going to hold off, and Hillary's going to hide.
Yeah,
she's going to try to hide as much as she possibly can 10 days before an election, which is, they've been trying to, just run the clock out to begin with. I mean, when's the last time you heard Hillary Clinton say anything about a policy? You know, she wants to talk about we're going to create all these jobs and everything, but what has she talked about? How does she say she's going to do it? They say Trump never says a thing. Well, he just spent last Saturday in Gettysburg telling us all about his first 100 days, what he plans on doing. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, is just going, Donald Trump is evil. What did she say? There's Muslim children having nightmares about Donald Trump. Real.
Well, you know, I think the media may be right, but it may be more like this. It may be what they can fish out of anything that Donald Trump says that they can turn into a major stupid thing that he says. I heard Limbaugh made a comment the other day. I think it's worthy to mention here.
Well. Hey, let me give you an example of that, John.
Okay, go for it.
Talking about fishing. Remember, early on in the campaign, Donald Trump talked about illegal aliens and Mexicans, some Mexicans illegally here being criminals and thugs, and they're not the best people. What did the press do? They said, basically, Donald Trump is all against immigration, and he's all against all Hispanics.
Right, yeah, and he's calling all Mexicans rapists and drug dealers.
Yeah.
You know,
and all Muslims are bad.
Yeah.
It's not what it's not what he said, but that's what the press did. They said, "Oh, we'll just take that and we can make that into this, and everybody will believe us." And that's exactly what they're going to do here. They're just going to find something. He's out there because Donald Trump, give him credit, he's doing 3-4 events a day. And he's talking. He's out there and he's giving these people an opportunity to find and say stuff about him. Okay, well, what would you rather have? Somebody hiding or somebody out there saying, hey, here's what I plan on doing when I get elected?
Well, we know what's going to happen here, okay? You were relaying some comments that he had just made just at a rally today, that she needs to be put in jail. Okay, there's a comment that they can somehow spin. I'm going to try to think like a leftist for a minute here, and it's hard to do. All you have to really do is just shut off your normal reasoning process and say, okay, how are we going to hear that? Okay, he's saying we need to drain the swamp. Okay, so now watch this. It's going to be something along the lines of Donald Trump thinks that every single congressional person in Washington belongs in the swamp. Therefore, how can we expect Donald Trump to get anything done? How are we going to get any foreign policy? How are we going to repeal and replace Obamacare? How are we going to do anything if Donald has to spend his days wading through the swamp?
Yeah, who is going to want to work with this madman?
Yeah, who just thinks he is the answer to everything? Well, that was the argument we were presenting back in 2008 with Obama. The guy thinks he's everything. He's the best policymaker. He's the best speechwriter. He's the best orator. He's the best at everything. In fact, he's so damn good, he doesn't even deserve to be here. He deserves to be up in heaven somewhere running the show. Okay? So anyway, like for instance, I'm looking at here. He says Hillary Clinton's corruption is on a scale we have never seen before. We must never let her take her criminal scheme into the Oval Office. Somebody's going to turn that? I'm telling you, somebody's going to turn that into him not wanting to accept the results of the election because he thinks Hillary Clinton is corrupt. It's going to be, he wants to undermine the whole system because he thinks he's better than Hillary Clinton or whatever. I mean, I can just see this stuff coming out here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it's going to be absolute. But that's what the press will do. They will not report on what is going on with this new revelation. And let's just face it, Comey did what he did, and he didn't want to have to go back and do this, and he did it anyway. There must be something pretty damning in this email because he didn't find it. His minions, Comey's buddies in the FBI, the people that work for him, found this and said, okay, we need to fess up to this because if this comes out and we hold on to it till after the election, it's going to look worse than we do right now because they don't look really good in everybody's eyes. I mean, what do these guys look like? I mean, it's like the Three Stooges running the FBI here.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I just found it. I just found the sound bite. It's going to be used tonight. I don't know how it's going to be used, but this is how it's going to be. This is it, guys. I'm laying my reputation on the line here as a mad prophet, all right? Okay? He says, Trump today at the rally, this was a grave miscarriage of justice that the American people fully understood, and it's everybody's hope that it is about to be corrected. It might not be as rigged as I thought. There it is. There's the bite that's going to be used tonight. You're going to see it on CNN, MSNBC. They're going to play that. They're going to spin that somehow. All of a sudden, Donald Trump thinks the system has integrity. It's going to be something like that. Okay? You watch some. They're going to be using the soundbite. It might not be as rigged as I thought, because that is what? That is the narrative that's been going on for the last 2 weeks. Donald Trump thinks the whole thing's rigged. He's not going to accept the results. America's going to suffer. And people are going to be disenfranchised. There's no representation anymore. Dictator, tyrant, there it is.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, John, is in the first time in decades, Hillary Clinton was screwed by a wiener.
Oh, that's cold. That's like, I got really slammed a few weeks ago. I was around a bunch of people, and one of the people in the group didn't know that Ted Kennedy had passed away. Okay, and somebody said, "Well, yeah, he's been dead for 5 or 6 years or something like that."
Easily, yeah.
And I said, "Well, he's been sober about the same time," and. And I'm telling you, this is a group of Christians, and they all look, oh, John, that was below the belt. And I'm saying, you know what? I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if you think it's below the belt. If you don't know the guy died 5 or 6 years ago, why the hell do I care what you think about what I just said?
Yeah, come on. Really? But, hey, really, think about it. Think about what I just said. Isn't it just amazing?
Yeah.
And you know what? Hey, I might have to go to re-education camp again after, but it's okay. It's worth it. It's just worth it.
All right. So you heard it first here. When you hear it on the news tonight, and I don't know, I'll even go as far as to say I bet you it's Don Lemon that brings it up. All right. There we go. Okay. Okay. Don Lemon, and go ahead.
Which one do you like better? Do you like John's line, or do you like mine?
John Podesta is going to be classic. We'll probably hear about that on Fox News. You're not going to hear about this too much unless they reword it. And what's basically coming out right now, what's coming out is they're saying basically from the left, the narrative is if Comey has something that he thinks is pertinent to this investigation, we need to hear what it is now. Because
release it now. That's exactly what they're doing. The campaign is out right now saying, release it now.
Yeah, because once they get the information, they can distance themselves. It'll be like, Huma Abedin is separated from her husband, because he's just not a moral man. Okay, well, if he'd not been caught sexting to a minor, she'd probably still be with him. Okay,
the thing is, that's exactly what they're going to do. That way they can start to do the spin machine.
Yeah, and I'm really wondering if this really does put a dent into them. If we wake up tomorrow and we find out some of the spot polls out there are saying, oh, man, this thing is not only dead even, but Trump's starting to look pretty good in some of these swing states. Or if she cancels, here's going to be the signal, guys. If she cancels her trip down to Arizona, she's supposed to be going into Arizona because for some reason, they think they're going to be able to take Arizona this time, okay? Well, check this out, guys. Arizona's got the 145% increase in Obamacare. You combine that with this revelation, if she doesn't go to Arizona, something's afoot. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see if she has a busy weekend or she just goes away and hides.
Yeah, and I think that going away and hide is going to be closer to the point. They'll send out the charisma people, the charismatics, the Obamas, the Bill Clintons, and those kind of people. I don't know where they'll send Tim Kaine.
Yeah, that evil clown Kane. I don't know. This is his season, though. This is his weekend. It's Halloween weekend. So that evil clown Kane, he'll be out there scaring little kids and taking their candy.
Yeah. And I've always found it ironic that Halloween is the day before All Saints Day. That's never been lost on me. So Tim Kaine knows that. So he knows what that means. So anyway.
Yes, because he was a missionary Catholic kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Halloween is one of those holidays I don't know. When I was in the world, I got to say, when I was growing up and I was in the world, back in my days of drugs and booze and women and rock and roll and all that stuff, Halloween was a pretty cool day because it was like, you can get really, really super wasted and nobody cares. That kind of
an excuse for a nice party. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, but you can do that any day. That's just all it is anyway. Yeah. It's just an excuse to go have some fun. That's fine. We here at the Conservative Syndicate like to have people have fun. It's okay.
Yeah, and if dressing up as a goblin is your idea of kicks, okay, go for it. I don't care.
It's quite all right. Go for it.
I've always told my wife I want to go over to the Philippines because it's a massive celebration over in the Philippines because everybody goes to the cemeteries and they hold massive fiestas in the middle of the cemetery. It's like it's extremely strange. That's what they do. Anyway. Okay, hey, look, guys, we got to go to break. When we come back, we're going to get back on this Obamacare thing. But I don't know. This is the way it is, guys. That's the way it works out here now. Things are breaking so fast and happen. You got to kind of go with the flow. So stay with us right here. We'll be right back.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, security, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. And you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I am your host, John Matthews, mad prophet of the airways. Put my reputation on the line today. You watch the bite tonight, the sound bite. Look for the sound bite. Okay, maybe the system is not as rigged as I thought. Okay, watch it. Let's see. Let's just see if I'm still on target here. Okay,
or Hillary Clinton has finally been screwed by a wiener.
Well, I don't think we'll hear that. It would be great if somebody would say that on Megyn Kelly. I would. But
get Newt Gingrich out there. I dare you to say it. I dare you to say that.
Yeah, I could just wiener shields up.
He's got Captain.
All right. Excuse me. Anyway, let's get back to this Obamacare thing. Since it is Friday, we need to kind of close this topic out here. Okay. It'd be too hard to start it all over from scratch on Monday.
With the excuses again, John. Let's go to the excuses because we get through one or two.
Yeah, we were talking with Bob Cardoso in the first hour, and excuse number one being offered by the Democrats is that the premium hikes that we're talking about, and they range from a 14% cut in a state like Rhode Island to 145% increase in states like Arizona. And this is all, this is how insurance works. You based on who's using it and the number of people that are covered and, yada, yada, how that all works out is that across the board there's an average. If you looked at a mortality table on an insurance, life insurance, for example, and you looked on a mortality table is what they determine costs of insurance on. So if you say, I'm a 20-year-old, the first thing they're going to look at is they're going to say, okay, 20-year-old, you're going to pay $1.25 for every $1,000 worth of insurance that you purchase. What is that? That's because that's the average death per year in that age bracket. Okay, 1.2. Let's just round it off. Okay, $1. Let's say $1. That means one 20-year-old on an average dies per year. Okay. So that's an average. That's not saying that we don't have more deaths in one day than we do in another. They're just averaging out. And they're saying the average mortality, 1 out of every 100 people age 20 die every year. And so that's what they call that's called a mortality table. It's the same thing with insurance, health insurance. The number of sick people using it compared to the number of sick people don't use it. And then you kind of average out the cost. And you say this is what... but they kind of slant it to the person not using it the most. They have to offset. They're used to offset. I don't want to get too deep into that. But anyway,
Say that's just way too deep, John.
Yeah,
that's not germane to our discussion.
Yeah, that's locker room talk. All right, so it's just that's what we're talking about. They're saying Rhode Island might get a 14% decrease, Arizona 145% increase, because apparently people in Arizona are using it more. That's what we're getting at. Okay,
Pennsylvania's getting a 50-some% increase.
Yeah, everybody moves to Arizona because of their asthma. And so there must be more people down there using humidifiers or whatever. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So the number one excuse number one is that fewer people. They're just saying those who buy it in the exchanges are the ones that are going to see the cost increase, but they're not going to have to pay it because it's going to be subsidized. All right. Now, that's excuse number two.
Yeah, so excuse number two is because Obama premiums hikes don't matter because we can subsidize them.
Okay, so the Obama administration's rate hike report spilled out 84% of Obamacare exchange enrollees receive some sort of taxpayer-funded subsidy. So 3%, if we go by Austin Goolsby's numbers, 3% of the people receiving Obamacare through the exchanges are receiving subsidies. All right? So, but he goes on to say, Avik Royce here tells us, but that's only for the time being. And he goes on to point out a somewhat obscure provision in Section 1401 of the Affordable Care Act specifies that once exchange subsidy spending exceeds a 0.504% of GDP, Obamacare subsidy spending can only increase by a formula tied to inflation. So what they're saying is there's basically a cap. There's a cap on how much subsidies can actually be paid towards the coverage of the insurance based on the GDP. Well, we know the GDP sucks.
Yeah, and so they expect the Congressional Budget Office expects to hit that trigger point sometime in 2023. That's not very far away, people. That's like 6 years.
Yeah, and so what they're saying is once that cap comes into play, then even people on subsidies are going to have to pay more, and they'll start bailing out because they can't pay it. All right.
Okay. So what's number 3, John?
Number 3, premiums would be higher if Obamacare hadn't passed. Okay, now Avik Roy gives us the numbers here. He said the premiums have gone up by a cumulative 116% on average under the ACA. This is since 2009 when it was voted into law. According to research from the Commonwealth Fund, the average employer-sponsored family health insurance plan cost $12,000 in 2008, $16,000 in 2013, of an increase of only 5.4%. Okay, that's employer-based insurance, all right? Now, over 4 years, that translates into a cumulative increase of 23.6%. In other words, without Obamacare, we might have seen a 24% increase in insurance premiums if past trends had continued. Instead, we have a 116% increase.
Yeah, so instead of 24%, we see 116%. That's government for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that $1,000 hammer. You know, that's the way it works out. 5.4% if private sector had been left alone, 116%. Cumulative over the last 4 years. All right?
Oh, man. The last two are just absolutely famous. So you want to go to a break and then do them when we come back, or do you want to do them now?
No, I want to. I think we can do number 4 because that's real easy. And then I'm going to give you number 5 because you're having such a fun time with this. I'll let you do number 5. Excuse number 4. Premiums are high because Republicans oppose Obamacare. Nobody in Republicans Congress voted for it, but we're responsible for it. And the reason we're responsible for it, basically, is because they don't want to subsidize it.
Well, because Republicans are discouraging people from signing up.
Okay? And the argument is if the GOP would just get on board, and go with the program, man. We know
and
that
that's
everything.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. Republicans are telling people not to sign up, but the IRS is saying you're going to owe us money if you don't have health care.
And what is it Obama wants? He wants more money. He wants more money. So anyway, hey, look, let's go to our break right now. We'll come back. I'll give Joe number 5 here because this is the topping on the cake. All right, this is just great, and this tells you everything you need to know about being a liberal, how liberals think, how Obama thinks, the guy that is the best at everything that he's ever put his hands to. You know, okay, all right. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back. There is an old saying: children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, we're back. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and I want to get right back into this so that we can finish up without having to really rush too much here towards the end of our show here today. The five lamest excuses that we're hearing from the left as to why Obamacare is failing. And this is from Avik Roy from Forbes, who, as I said, was faced off against Austin Goolsbee on Megyn Kelly the other night and really just try to offer these really lame excuses as to why Obamacare is failing. And we're up at number 5 right now. Go ahead, Joe. Take the con.
Okay. All right, just the recap here. The first excuse was few Americans are affected by Obamacare's premium hikes. Number 2 was Obamacare premium hikes don't matter because we can subsidize them. Number 3 in our hit parade here was premiums would be even higher if Obamacare hadn't passed. Number 4 was premiums are high because Republicans opposed Obamacare. And the winner of them all is number 5. Premiums are high because Republicans won't do what Democrats tell them to do.
and you know, that in and of itself, just that statement,
Yes.
in and of itself is filled with its own falsehoods. Okay, now maybe not in regard to Obamacare. You know, the idea they've tried to repeal it 60 times, and you know, there's arguments over every resolution and budget as to whether they're going to fund it. They're always telling us they're not, but they end up doing it. So, you know, even in that regard, the Republicans have been as guilty as everybody else in their complicity to actually stop it. Now, great, you know, they did a great job of opposing it before it was passed.
Yes, I mean they've funded the darn thing every time it's come up there on the CR's continuing resolution. Here, let me read what he wrote here. The next excuse is that Republicans fault that Obamacare isn't working because Republicans simply won't go along with the changes that Democrats want to make to Obamacare because Republicans are blinded by partisan rage instead of the desire to help people. All right, so let's talk about it. Hillary Clinton wants to do 3 things to Obamacare, none of which will do anything to reduce the underlying cost of Obamacare-sponsored insurance. Number 1 thing Hillary wants to do, she wants to add new regulations to Affordable Care Act exchanges, such as capping out-of-pocket limits and forcing insurers to offer more generous coverage. This won't decrease premiums because you're going to give more. You're going to have to pay more. All right, Hillary, number 2, wants taxpayers to pony up more subsidies to help bail out Democrats for causing the higher premiums. Again, that won't have any effect on the cost of Obamacare. It's just going to tax the taxpayers more. It's going to come out of their pocket. All right, and finally, and this is the ultimate one, Hillary Clinton wants to add a public option, single payer, government choice, okay, get that public option to the exchanges, which will have no effect on the premiums unless it's accompanied by strict price controls on hospitals and doctors, and that not all Democrats support, and Republicans certainly don't support. And if you love any kind of liberty or freedom, you certainly won't support it. Not strange at all, the Republicans are skeptical of Democrats' plans to add more regulations, more subsidies, and more mandates to Obamacare. Yes. So, and the bottom line on this, at some point, it's Obamacare's cheerleaders are going to have to confront the fact that the way they designed Obamacare is directly responsible for its problems. They'll need to open the door to a more bipartisan, patient-centered approach. Remember, this was not bipartisan. This was shoved down America's throats all by the Democrat Party. The Republicans had absolutely nothing to do with Obamacare.
Now let me offer just a couple of comments here. Hillary wants to add new regulations to the ACA exchanges, such as capping out-of-pocket limits. We just talked about that. That was one of the problems here. When we go back to excuse number 2, that the premium hikes don't matter because they can subsidize them. They've already got capping limits written into the law. So how is that going to alleviate anything? Are you going to change? Are we going to do another Obama let's violate the law and change it through executive order and not go through the ratification process and debate and everything else we're supposed to do? So she's ignorant of what the law already says in terms of out-of-pocket limits. They're saying, hey, if the amount of money that's needed exceeds the GDP by 0.5%. then you have to. There's a cap on how much subsidies can actually be taken and used. All right, so that's already there. All right,
but I think she really wants to get to her third solution, though, John.
Oh, I know, and that's what, and that was, as we read, as you were reading the end of this thing about, the idea that we're going to have to do something else, a more bipartisan, patent-centered approach. No, that is a nice way of saying we're going to have to go to single payer. We're going to have to do something more radical than what's going on here. The other idea of putting more subsidies. Hillary Clinton's trying to tell us it's going to be the rich that she's going to go after in terms of taxes. All right, but if she wants more money to pony up the subsidies, I'm sure she would argue when she refers to taxpayers as that 1%. But we've seen so many times, so many examples. I remember Bill Whittle put this out there. He put the math out there, and he said basically, if we took all the richest wealth and we took all the subsidies, all the franchises, football, sports franchises, if we took all their revenue, if we took all of their endorsement revenue, what they get for selling jerseys and stuff like that, and if we take, he went down this list, and what it is, if we took all the wealth in America and we put it into something like Obamacare, we would still come up 6 months short in 1 year budget. All right, that's a hunk of change. He's saying you can't do this because there isn't enough money. Margaret Thatcher said it best. Socialism works great until you run out of money. Okay?
Other people's money.
So there it is. But it is, as Joe says, the idea is we want to get to public option, because the public option would provide something, especially in these places that only have one insurance provider now. You know, because the insurers are saying, no, I'm not going there anymore. It's cost too much. We're not making any money. Private industry is for it's for the purpose of profit, for crying out loud. It's not for the purpose of being generous and being compassionate and all. No, people don't go into business for that. You may offer a product that caters to that, but you're in business to make a profit.
Yep. And so what will happen? Strict price controls, and they're going to have strict procedure controls. Okay, your back is hurting you. So what are you going to do? Well, the nice thing to do is like, hey, maybe you need to have an MRI. We're not going to give you an MRI because that costs too much. We're going to make sure we give you some pills and maybe some of these patches, and we're going to have some exercises for you to do. And maybe in 3 months, if you still have an issue, then we might give you an MRI. And maybe then you'll find out that you blew out a disc in your back, and then all the stretches and pills and everything in the world is never going to help. And you need surgery. But you just made 6 more months of being in pain and made it even worse.
Well, you pointed to something earlier, Joe, when we were talking about pharmacies. When Bob was on, we were talking about the cost of pharmaceuticals. All right,
Mm-hmm.
So we sit there and we say, okay, look, we're not gonna give you that back surgery that you need. All right, we're just gonna dope you up. Yep. But the cost of the drug costs more than the surgery. Over a period of time. If we're going to drug you up for the next 5 years or whatever, I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. Let's say over the next 5 years you got to take drugs because they don't want to front the surgery. They don't want to put the surgery up there. Okay, so over that cost of 5 years, the pharmaceuticals that you are taking to alleviate the pain and not solving the problem, it's just a Band-Aid. It's not a solution. The cost of the pharmaceuticals. So now what do? Well, what do? We got to go after the pharmaceutical companies. We got to nationalize pharmaceuticals.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It'll always end up that, and it'll just be snowballing. So basically, it is not patient-centered at whatsoever. It's bureaucratic-centered. It's administrative-centered. It's on whatever the government-centered. It's never going to be about the patient anymore. You will not be at the center of anything anymore as a patient. It'll always be whatever the HMO, if you want to use that term, or whatever the Obamacare exchange wants. It's not about what the patient wants anymore.
Well, you got to understand, public option is it's one nationalized HMO, not PPO, HMO, Health Maintenance Organization. We have no obligation to heal you. We just need to make you feel good for today. All right, there it is. The door. Okay, guys. I got to interrupt you, Joe. We're out of time here. It's Friday. We got time. We got to play our Raise 'Em Up, and then we'll be back on Monday, 3 o'clock out here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East. God bless you all. Get ready, man. This weekend's going to rock. All
Amen.
right.
Oh, amen.
We'll talk to you later.
Guide me to who you want me to help. Raise up more that will call upon your name. Raise up those that love you and seek you and trust you. Raise them up, Lord. Raise them up. Lord, we need a generation of believers who are not ashamed of the gospel. We need an army of believers, Lord, that hate to be lukewarm and will stand on your word above all else. Raise them up, Lord. Raise them up. I pray for unity among those that love you. I pray that you open their eyes so that they can see your truth, Lord. I pray for your hand of protection and guidance. Raise up a generation, Lord, that will take light into this world, that will not compromise when under pressure, that will not cower, Lord, when others fall away. Raise them up, Lord, that they will proclaim that there is salvation in the name of Jesus Christ. Raise up warriors, Lord, who will fight on their knees, who will worship you with their whole hearts, Lord. Lord, call us us to battle, that we may proclaim you King of Kings and Lord of Lords. I pray these things with all my heart. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.